Okay. All right. So there are 4 ways to move a person. And that first way has to do with that, that scenario that I created for the leaders and I gave them a multiple choice.
Yes. The CAB thing.
Yeah. Yeah. They all got it wrong.
Yeah. I even asked Jonathan later, I was like, what are they talking about CAB? I didn't understand it.
The answer was CBA.
Okay.
They kept saying CAB. Some of them would go BCA,
Mm-hmm.
The answer was CBA.
Okay.
And they all got it wrong. So the first way to move somebody has to do with that scenario I created, which is you have to motivate people. The only reason people get motivated is they have to have a reason to get motivated. They have to have a reason to get motivated. And this is kind of controversial, a little bit controversial. Whoops, what happened here?
You just lost your video.
All right, I gotta find it. All right, there we go. There we go. All right, so Michelle, did you hear it? Did you hear the call Friday at all?
No.
She her head.
No.
And Mike, you didn't hear it, right?
No, we were in the hospital all day Friday.
Okay. So I think this is good to go over this and I'm gonna put all of you in this scenario and see if you get it right. Okay.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna change the order. It's not gonna be the same order. All right. So there are 3 reasons why people will change, which means in the scenario I created, Mike, is I created the context by which we could judge whether you could get somebody to change by recruiting them into this business. So it was mostly a recruiting type scenario. So the three choices that you could use as strategies to get people to move, to take initiative, to take advantage of an opportunity, to make a change. There are only 3. And one of them is much more impactful than the other 2. Okay. So one of them is, I'm going to call it choice A. All right. That people have suffered enough and they have a need to get free. So here's the scenario I created for those 6 leaders. I said that I had arranged for us to go to a manufacturing plant where they make lawnmowers. It was Honda Power Equipment. And they have 300 employees. And I got the management to shut down the plant and let us go in there and interview and talk to these people and try to convince them to quit their job and come work sell insurance for a living. Okay, you with me so far on that? Yep. All right.
Yeah.
So one of the choices that you have, because I'm going to give you 3 scripts, and you have to use one of the 3 scripts to get these people to leave their job. One of them is they've suffered enough and they need to get free. For example, these people definitely are suffering. They work 12-hour shifts, 4 days on and 3 days off. They make $12 an hour and they are struggling on the money they make to feed their family. On their 3 days off, they work a part-time job. They have no life. Okay. So they definitely want to get free. They definitely want to be free of that, but they are suffering. But I can't even get into all the suffering, but some of it is, it's a cold place in the winter. It's a hot place in the summer. It's dingy. It's dark. It's dirty. There's a lot. The air quality is not good. There's a lot. I could go on and on about the suffering. All right. And this is not just atypical of Honda. This is like what I saw for 30 years. So the second choice that you have is they are being held down. They're being held down by their boss. They're not given any raises. They are being overlooked for promotions. Some people in certain departments, because their boss likes them more, gives them better raises. But most of them work in the manufacturing part, not the prep area and not the shipping area. And they get crapped on and they have the hardest job. And they always ask to work overtime. And certain people are not because favoritism is going on. And their boss is just plain mean to them. So they're being held down and held back and mistreated. So they want things to be fair. They're tired of the unfair work practices. They want things to be fair. Then the last choice is they do a job that they've been doing for 20 years, some of them 25. The bare minimum, most of them have been there about 5 years. Somewhere between 5 and 25 years, they've worked the same job. They don't get rotated. They never get moved. They're stuck on the same job. Some of them may have a bolt that they have to put a screw on, and they do that 1,500 times a day. So, yeah, they want a new challenge. All right. So, your three choices is that you go in and say, hey, don't you need to be free? Don't you want to make more money? Don't you want your family to be more financially stable? Don't you want to make $500 a pop versus $12 an hour? You can make more in one sale than you can make in one day. Don't you want to be free of this suffering? Second choice. Aren't you tired of being held down and held back and treated unfairly? Don't you want things to be fair finally? Okay. Don't you want to come to a place where it's a level playing field? And if you do, you'll get rewarded. Don't matter what color you are. Don't matter what sex you are. Don't matter what sexual preference you are. Don't matter what your religion is, how tall you are, how skinny you are. It's a level playing field. Don't you want fairness finally? And thirdly, aren't you bored of doing the same thing over and over again? Don't you want a new challenge? Don't you want to be your own boss and own your own business and name your own hours? Okay, those are your three choices. A, suffering, need to get free. B, being held down, make things fair. C, aren't you bored and don't you want a new challenge? There is a correct order.
Okay, so you're asking which one motivates people the most?
Which one's going to make them walk out with you? More likely to walk out with you if you do it in the proper order. One of these has done to you. Two of these you do to yourself. That might give you a hint. So, what do you think the order is? What, Michelle?
I'm sorry. What's your question?
You got to go up to these people and approach them with one of these three scripts to start off with. Then you hit them with the second script and the third script. But you have to do it in the right order. So the first choice is A, suffering. Don't you need to get free? B, held down. Don't you want things to be fair? C, boredom. Don't you want a new challenge? Which one do you hit them with first? Which one do you hit them with second? Which one do you hit them with third? If you do it in the right order, you got a really good chance to get some of them to walk out with you.
I would say CBA.
CBA.
I think it's CAB.
I think it's BCA.
I think it's
number two.
Fairness, money, challenge.
So
I don't know the. Yeah,
BAC.
I don't know.
The hell
That would be BAC. That's what Jonathan just said. That's what Jonathan said. BAC. And Jeff, you said, didn't you say
CAB.
C, which is boredom, and then suffering, and then held down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So y'all ready to go through this?
Anybody else want to guess?
Yeah. Anybody else want to guess? Mike, did you guess?
I think it's CBA with Megan, but if you need somebody to be ABC, I'll do that one. In the order it was presented. No, I think it's the reverse order.
Okay, we got all kinds of answers here. Let's just go through. Let's start with A, which is suffering. Yeah, they want to be free. They want to be free, but they don't need to be free. If you go up and try to get people to leave off these jobs, and I have seen a bunch of people doing what middle America do for a living. If honest to God, if I could get y'all access to these people, this is the people we need to recruit. But they're not coming with you if you lead off with money. Nobody I have ever interviewed at any of these companies, when I ask them what's the problem with the company and what's wrong with the culture and what could be done to make people happy, none of them pick money. None of them pick money. So if you tell them you're going to offer a job where they get $500 a pop, first they think it's a scam. They're definitely not coming. If you lead off with that, they are not coming. Mm-hmm. They've been conditioned to think that's too good to be true. Plus, they like the predictability of the hours that they've been given and the pay they've been given. They like to dance with the devil they know. So they're not coming because, and listen, misery loves company. They kind of like the suffering. They wear it like a badge of honor. Mm. Now, my job for 30 years was to go out to these companies. Y'all have something that they have, but they call it something else. The negativity of their business that I had to deal with is the same negativity in your business, financially speaking. Yours is called chargebacks. Theirs is called turnover. Hmm. Chargebacks might be the nasty word in y'all's business. Turnover in corporate America, especially manufacturing, is the number one concern. You would think it would be quality. I wished it was, but it's turnover. That's all they're concerned about. So they call me in, and the turnover's at 60%. Now, my reputation got around that I could get your turnover down into the teens. So they would pay me money on the side. I would go do this on the side and make moonlight, and they would pay me money to get their turnover down into the single digits. And if I could do that, Mike, they give me a good little bump, a good little piece of money. All right? Yep. But so I would go in and I would interview management, supervisors, everybody. And guess what they would do? They would go hand select about 20, 25 employees from each department, and they would bring them in and put them in a room and go, on the diecast area, we've got about 20 people for you to talk to. I'm like, okay, that's good. That's really good. And I said, I kind of would like to pick my own people. I said, I've been watching the diecast area. I want that guy that's gone to the bathroom 5 times since I've been here. I want him. That guy that's he's taken 6 smoke breaks. I want him. I want them. Why do you want to talk to them? I said, that's who I want to talk to. I want to talk to that guy that's on that forklift that's been sitting there for 30 minutes napping because he's waiting to move something. He's got a really cushy job. I want to ask him what's wrong with this place. They didn't like that, Mike. They didn't like that one little bit because they didn't want the truth. But I had to, if I was going to affect that culture, I had to talk to those people. So when I brought them in a room and I go, hey, what's going on here? What's the culture like? Well, it's bad. Bad. Is this being you talking? Can we just, is this off the record, man? See, I was in the South, so they said man a lot. Is this off the record, man? I'm like, yeah, you ain't gonna tell nobody, man. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna tell nobody. I'll tell you the truth, man, if you don't repeat it. I'm like, I'd like to know the truth. Not a single one of them, Jeff, said they're bored. Boredom had nothing to do with it. You know what? They love boredom. They have mastered the mundane. No, scratch that. They got a PhD in the damn mundane. Mundane don't bother them. We could take some lessons from them. Our people, they can't master the mundane of dialing. These people have mastered the mundane. They've accepted it. They're not afraid of the mundane. And none of them said anything about money either. Not a thing. Not at the beginning. What they said, Jeff, was this. You know what? You won't believe what they do here. See them people over there? See that guy in the blue pants and the yellow shirt? You see that guy with a red shirt and the white pants? Them two right there, you could start with them. They don't do nothing. They get paid $5 an hour more than me. They don't do nothing. I do more than them. That ain't fair, man. I'm like, what do you want me to do with them? What do you want me to do? What's your answer? He goes, well, you can start with firing them. I'm like, you want me to fire those people and it's going to fix this problem? Yeah, because they ain't worth killing, man. They ain't worth killing, man. That was my life for 30 years. Listen to people complain about their job. And I found out 85% hated their bosses. And they thought the system was set up for them not to be rewarded in a fair manner. It was all about fairness. So if I was going in there to recruit them, I would go like this. I would go up and say, hey, how's your relationship with your boss? Oh, I said, do they treat you fair here or they play favorites? Man, you must work here, man. I'm like, you read my mind. Yeah, I figured there might be some, things that unfair practices here. Oh, yeah. I said, well, I know I got a job that you could probably do part-time and work your way out of here where the level is a level playing field. Everybody gets rewarded the same based on their effort. That sounds interesting. That's the hook. Then I would say, guess what they pay? About $500 a pop. Oh, get the hell out of here, man. Then I would say, and guess what? You can be your own boss and name your own hours. See, I did in that progression. That's how I would recruit them. That's how you recruit Middle America to do this.
So
does that make sense?
BAC? Was it BAC?
Jonathan was he was BAC. Yep, that's right. Jonathan was correct. How'd you know that, Jonathan?
That's how I felt.
That how you felt?
When I left Walmart. That's the only reason I said it.
You work with people at Walmart, you know.
Oh yeah, man. I was working circles around people getting paid more than me.
And that bothered you, didn't it?
Big time. Very much so.
Yeah. So anyway, that's 3 reasons why people change, and that's the order in which you can kind of court them. What do you think about that, Michelle?
I agree. I think that's
go ahead.
Yeah, that's the order of it. People don't want to be held down by their boss. They want a relationship. They want fairness.
Everybody leaves everything for that reason. They leave everything, every job. including selling insurance.
Yep.
I ain't gonna say no more about that, but
Commit the community and all of this part is important, you know.
Mm-hmm. But what do we try to sell at a convention? What do we try to sell all the time? We might as well have Mel Gibson come and go, freedom! Don't you want to get free? Freedom! You know what? You might get a person to come to a meeting like that, but they ain't gonna sell insurance. That's just a bunch of hype. Freedom. Now, freedom's big, but you've got to talk about fairness first. Then you hit them with freedom. You can't lead off with freedom.
Mm-hmm.
It just all it does is get people in a big, they get them all in a fever, and then they walk out there. They do nothing. Oh, I want to get free. I don't really need to get free. I still got a job. Ain't that bad? Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to work for themselves. It's too unfamiliar. It's too risky. I don't have a boss. I hate my boss, but I like the predictability of it. They at least going to guarantee me a paycheck. It might be low, but it's a guarantee. You don't want to lead off with that kind of stuff because that's the reasons they stay. But they don't want to stay because if they hate their boss, that's the reason they'll leave. They'll hate the system. That's the reason. They're not leaving because of pay and because of boredom. They're just not. If that was the case, they'd all leave. We'd have more people at a convention.
Right.
You know, we do that. You know, we have all these ads that go, freedom. That's more of an Amway thing, I think.
Well, some people had those.
Everyone I've ever been to, I've seen some of these Amway videos, and they go capture people at their, and they're quitting their job. We're freeing them today. We're setting them free. Freedom. Yeah. I'm just telling you the real numbers and what the statistics say.
Right.
I'm not so much a hype man.
Well, those may be the 1%ers, but we need that fat middle.
We need that fat middle. Yeah.
Fat middle comes from the people that are unhappy.
And I could get up there and say this at convention. I could go, I'm like, how many of y'all want to get free? And they all get, that's freedom. Yeah. I'm like, hey, ain't none of you going to do that because you just did this. Ain't none of you going to do it. You just did arm exercises, but you ain't going to do nothing.
I never got any muscles from doing this to air.
Yeah. Well, I try to be. Go ahead, Michelle.
Some people have grown up in a world where their parents were entrepreneurs and they have seen other things in their life, but that's not what most of the people that we're recruiting are. There are some of those people that can see it because they have a belief system already. Mm-hmm. But what you're talking about is recruiting the masses and the people that have had jobs and are used to that job mentality. And it is a change, and it is they've got to be feeling unhappy to be able to cross over and make changes to better their life.
Yeah. You're right. And you led me into my second way to move people is called confidence, is build up their confidence. And let's see how much time we got. I could do this one, I think, tonight. Save the last two. Okay, I got plenty of time. All right, so confidence. So there was 3 ways to motivate people. 3 reasons people change. We did that. Now there's 3 ways to grow a self-belief, what Michelle just said. Now we gave them 3 reasons to change. Now we got to give them 3 ways to grow a self-belief, because most of America, if they accept boredom and they accept low-paying jobs, they will also grow up thinking they don't deserve to be successful. They've been brainwashed to think that they should put in their 8 and hit the gate. And this is all they should do. This is the American dream right here. So they don't believe they deserve success. They'll almost sabotage their own success. So what I say to do to grow a self-belief is three things. We've got to get people to try to lift themselves out of this quicksand of negativity. It's like a pool of negativity. They're in this quicksand. It's pulling them down. And if they don't reach up and try to grab these positive branches, positive things, focusing on the positive, grab as much positive as you can and ignore the negativity. If you don't reach for the positive, the negativity will just cover you up and suck you down. But most people get hung up on their failures and reasons why they can't do something. So that's why the positives are not visible for most people. The negative is very visible. It makes its presence very much so. The positives are, you got to look for the positives. They're hiding. It's like one of those things where you're looking for, you got this big picture and you're like, how many dogs are in this picture? And you're trying to find them in the trees. You got to find the positive. But you got to focus on the positive and you got to be positive to see the positive. Now, the second one is an interesting one. It's called developing competence, not confidence. If you want confidence, you've got to develop your competence, which means I don't understand people that's been in this business for a while that don't increase their repertoire. I had a lady on the 7 o'clock call, and I've been preaching to her about IULs. She'd been around a couple of years. She finally figured out what an IUL was, and she's been selling them. And she's fired up out of her mind. It's changed her app count completely. It's really changed her whole outlook about this thing because now she's added to her repertoire. And if you don't add to your repertoire, how are you going to magnify an unfair advantage? Because that's what competence is. It magnifies your unfair advantage. And I had these, Michelle, for years, I had these professors that would work for me. And they love teaching the same thing. Mike, you know what I'm talking about. They get stuck on teaching the same classes over and over again. And they've not increased their repertoire. So I would, every once in a while, I would say, hey, you've got to, Dr. So-and-so, you've got to, I'm going to add you a new class that you've never taught. They go, oh, I need a whole semester to prepare. I need 4 months to prepare. I'm like, you need 4 months to prepare. You're not getting 4 months to prepare. And can I get extra pay if I prepare? I'm like, no. You've been teaching the same crap and you're going to teach something. I mean, I was really stern with them, Michelle. I was not well liked. So I said, no, you're not getting any time. And they go, well, what? I can't learn it that fast. I said, I don't expect you to learn it that fast. I need you to stay one chapter ahead of the students. Just one chapter ahead. And these agents need to stay just one sentence ahead of these people they're selling to. They don't have to have an expertise, but they still need to have know a little bit about it, know just a little bit more than your client and magnify that unfair advantage. I told these professors, they would go, I don't like this strategy. My students could read ahead. I said, I got news for you. They ain't reading books, and I don't think some of them can read. So don't give me that crap. That's not an excuse. Develop a competence, magnify your unfair advantage. Now, the last one is called win your mind, W-I-N, your mind. This is where you have self-talk over everybody else talk. I don't listen. Listen, I listen to a lot of voices, but I don't hear every one of them. Most of it sounds like that Peanuts show where that teacher is doing that why. I selectively hear. I listen because I'm respectful. I listen to the words come out of their mouth. I don't let all of it register with me because I'm the only voice that matters in my head, not these other voices. Now, I don't know if I've told y'all, but I love my mother. I really do. I love my mother and I respect my mother. And I talk to her quite often. it's hard because my mother likes to try to fill my head with negativity. And she likes to tell me, you don't need to do those calls tonight. You're looking peaked, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, you're a little peaked looking. You need to take tonight off. They'll understand. And maybe you should just call in tomorrow because I think you need your rest. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. You got to keep going forward. It's because my mother is a sitter downer. Any chance she gets, she'll sit down. My dad was the complete opposite. Thank God I took after my dad and not my mother. My sister and my brother took after my mother. They both sit down. I'm a move forward kind of guy. So my dad was definitely had won his mind. And my dad was like, nobody's going to make me do anything I don't want to do. I'm going to do what I want. So my mother, when I talk to her, she tells me things like, well, Jeffrey, you need to call your Aunt Sia. She's dying. She's dying to talk to you, and you ain't talked to her in a long time. And she says, why ain't he called me lately? And then she told me, she goes, you know, your cousin Paula, she hasn't heard from you in 3 years. And today the doctor called and said, I can have my shot in the back, but I don't have a ride over there because your sister's not talking to me anymore. And I'm not talking to her. And I think I'm going to write her out of the will. I mean, just one thing after the other, you know. And my wife, Nancy, she'll go, well, you talked to your mother for 30 minutes. What did she say? I said, well, I got the hello and the goodbye. Everything else in there, I didn't hear any of it. I'm not going to hear negativity. I refuse to do it because it will affect my self-belief. I've built up my self-belief and I believe in Jeff. I'm betting on me. I'm betting on me. So a lot of people that come to that convention, about 70% of them, they do not have a strong self-belief. And I think that is important if we're going to move them forward, and they lack it. I can tell them all day. Tim Goad can get up there all day long and tell them they matter. It's about as effective as going, freedom, you matter. You know, those are all catchphrases, but we've got to instill that they need to quit talking about what happened yesterday and what's going to happen tomorrow and live in the moment. That's all we have is the moment. The positives are in the moment. Positives are not in yesterday. They're not in tomorrow. They're in the moment. Live in the moment and win your mind. That's just the 3 ways. That's the most popular 3 ways to grow a self-belief. I know this is real like simplistic stuff and it's like common sense, but it's what I wrote on my paper here, Michelle. It's what I wrote on my paper.
Common sense is not so common, Jeff.
The basics.
It's not so common, is it?
We all need the basics.
Not the basics. All right. Do y'all want to do one more?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. 3 ways. The next way to move a person is with emotion. 1 is motivation, giving them a reason. 2 is build up their confidence by growing a self-belief. The 3rd way is be emotionally tied to an activity. Like the person I know that represents this one is Doc Rock. His emotion and his enthusiasm and passion for life is very evident when he speaks on stage. I mean, you can see it. You can see it. You can see his bald head sweating, and he's got a towel wiping it off. That's the passion that he's sweating out. He's just wiping it off. The one thing that I found, now I'm going to sit here and tell you something right now about these 3 things, especially this first one. I really call them these 3 things: fooling, controlling, and choosing. Fooling, controlling, and choosing. So the 3 ways to grasp a positive feeling is simply this. You need to fool yourself into a positive feeling by practicing smiling. And I'll tell y'all a funny story about this. So y'all know I spent a lot of time with Andy, right? I spent a lot of time with Andy. So And Andy likes to say, get your mind right. Right? He says that a lot. I don't know if y'all know what he really means by that. I'm going to give y'all like a backroom story about this whole idea of fooling yourself into a positive feeling and practice. So he and I, you know, before we go on a TWC together or we go on stage together or whatever, we're sitting there. And like before TWC, maybe about 20 minutes before TWC, he starts smiling really big at me. And I'm looking at him like, you know, what are you smiling about? He goes, I'm practicing smiling. And I suggest you do too. I said, I'm not going to sit here and smile at you. We're two grown men in a room together. You don't have to. He goes, no, I have to fool myself into a positive feeling. I'm smiling. I suggest it'll help you get your mind right. I said, my mind's already right. I'm not smiling. I'm a 59-year-old man. I'm not going to smile with you. I'm not going to participate in that. And so he goes, it'll help you. It'll help you. And right before we go on, he goes, you need to go ahead and start smiling. You're not smiling. I said, I'll smile when the cameras come on, when I ain't smiling before. He's sitting there going, hey, do you want me to order you something to eat? Because I'm going to order me something to eat. And I said, would you please quit smiling at me while you say that? It's just weird. It's just plain weird. Did y'all know, Michelle, can you imagine that conversation happening?
I'm rolling over here.
Yeah. So, you know, and, you know, when I come out on stage and stuff, I'm smiling, but I ain't going to smile backstage. But his whole thing is, you know, it starts way before the activity, which he's got a point. I mean, I see his point. So he's trying to, because he has a lot of crap going on behind the scenes and family stuff and the same things everybody else has. He has his own demons and stuff. So, but he's really good about putting that in the rearview mirror, and he gets himself jacked up, and he actually starts talking louder to me as he gets closer to the time. He'll start going, hey, can you give me an ink pen from back there? I'm like, why are you shouting? I don't know. I'm fired up. I'm ready to go. I'm like, yeah, we got 5 more minutes. All right. So that's the first one. Practice smile. Megan, did you like that? Megan's got that smile. She got that smile. She puts that smile on. Did you teach her to smile like that, Michelle? She just come out of the womb smiling like that.
Jeff, after 5 solid years of crying on the drop of a pin, she was ready for smiling the rest of her life.
Is that right?
We used to go on 7-hour road trips, and she'd cry for 3 of them, and the rest of us would just be sitting there like, what can we do?
Oh, God. Now, that's a good – I'm glad to know this. I need to know more stories about Megan growing up. Yeah.
I'm committed.
I got more.
Huh?
I'm committed.
She is committed. When she starts something, she's not stopping it. She's hard-headed.
Is she now? Okay. All right. That's good to know. Well, the second one, their second way to grasp a positive feeling is to ignore drama. And that, you know, and I said this a while ago, to control your own emotions. That's what ignoring drama allows you to do, is you filtering out the negativity that's coming in and you can control how you react to something by not, because that drama that everybody else is trying to get you into will suck you in, and it will have an effect on the way you can control your own emotions. I used to be sucked into arguments. Really, I mean, it didn't take much for me to get in the middle of an argument. But I try not to do that anymore unless I'm absolutely pulled into it. Now, at corporate, I got into a lot of those. Mike knows this firsthand, but I used to get into it because I was kind of playing that referee or that HR, but I don't do that anymore. I've removed myself from dealing with, you know, any issues that come up with Robbie Kraft or Chris Hill or Clay Murtis or any of those people that used to cause me to play referee. So I don't do that anymore. So y'all got to complain about any of those people. You don't talk to me because I am not dealing with that. I can't. They gave me a gun, Michelle, that didn't have any bullets in it. All right. Anyway, so I can't operate with no bullets in my gun. So I now do this. This is all I do. This is all I do. Of course, I like doing this. This is more down my alley. So I don't want to be in the middle of drama. It just attaches yourself to you, and it's very hard to get rid of it. It takes over. It does something to your person to get in the middle of people's drama. So I control my emotions by not reacting to things. And then the last one is embrace the moment. I said this a while ago. Choose your own battles. Embrace the moment that you're in. I am not on these calls that I talk to some of these folks. They love to take me down a rabbit hole, which is their drama, their drama is everything that happened yesterday. If I prevent those people on these calls that I'm on, Michelle, if I make the requirement is they can't talk about what happened yesterday, some of them have nothing to talk about. Zero to talk about. Absolutely zero to talk about. They're like, what happened today? Well, I didn't do anything. But let me tell you, just leave it at that. You didn't do anything. I don't want to know why you didn't do anything. You just didn't do anything. And I try to teach them that if they could be in the moment and stay away from drama and fool themselves into a positive feeling, then they could absolutely probably do more apps than they're doing now, which is zero. Because I got a lot of folks doing zeros. Now, we got some folks on this call did zeros tonight. Olivia, Jeff, and Mike. Now, I will say this. I was on a call today where we would...
Acting. Jonathan's making me say, some people are still in contracting.
So they're not, they're in contracting?
They can't write the business.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought they were ready to go. So Olivia's in contracting, Jeff's in contracting, and Mike's in contracting?
I don't think everybody is, but Mike is in contracting.
Mike's in contracting. What about Jeff and Olivia?
No.
Jeff, Olivia, and you, I think are all.
We were discussing this today on multiple calls of why somebody would do double digits and why somebody would do zeros, because there's such a gap between those numbers. And the people that were doing double digits, they said they had two things. Now, they said a lot of things. There was a lot of variables, but they had two things that they kept saying over and over again. Most of them said they bought some type of leads, be it direct marketing, be it telemarketing, be it integrity leads, whatever. They bought some leads. Now, they would discuss how much they should invest in leads and what kind. That became a debate of what kind. Some people, I had a guy that did 17 apps this week, all from rework leads. All right. So everybody's got a different story about that, but they're investing time and money in the business. Also, they were staying away from drama. So the guy that did 17, there were 6 people that did zeros on that call. I let him ask them what they did different than him. We looked at the contrast. And every one of the zeros had a story about some dysfunction, some distraction, some type of excuse of why they couldn't do it. And then he hit them with his excuse of why he shouldn't have done 17. His wife had some kind of pain come over her, and he had to take her back and forth to the emergency room because they got her back home. They thought she was stable. He had to take her back. I think he had to take her back 3 times in one day, which is, I wonder why the hospital would let her go. So he said that in between getting her situated, he would go run some appointments and get back to the hospital. He was basically saying, my drama can match your drama. And you know what that made those zero people do? Made them mad, Megan. People that have dysfunction and drama don't want you to match their drama. Pisses them off. People that are crazy don't want you to be crazier than them. They want to be the most crazy on the call. They want to corner the market on crazy and drama. And when you find somebody that has found a way to do this business, even with drama and crazy, they don't like it because it takes away all their ammunition of why they can't do it. So, yes, ignoring the drama.
Excuse busters.
Excuse busters. Yeah. Excuse busters. Now, Jeff, we just made you feel really bad. Not intentionally, but did you invest a lot of time and money this week to get that 0?
No.
No. Did you have drama?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. There. I think I just made my point. So, Jeff, you gonna get one app for me next week?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Please get me one app. Get on this call next week and get. So next week we're going to finish this conversation and we're going to talk about cohesion with your calls. And I'm going to talk about my little. I got this opinion about something, Michelle. I don't know how it's going to go down. I'm going to talk about it at convention. I don't know how it's going to go down. You know that book, Start With Why?
Mm-hmm. Simon Sinek.
You know I don't like that book, right?
Well, I figured from your tone.
Yeah, I don't like it. I think the book should be Start With What? Not Start With Why.
But why? I'm just kidding.
Well, why? So I'm going to tell you, after we go over cohesion with the calls, I'm going to tell you my theory about how to get to your why through a what. The gateway to a why is through a what. And it's an interesting theory. I think you might agree with it.
I think so too.
So I'm going to leave y'all now because I am going to go watch the second half of the national championship game, which I hate both these teams with a passion. I hate watching a game where I hate both teams because I hope for both of them not to score.
Sounds interesting. Well,
we appreciate it, Jeff.
Thank you for your time, Jeff. It was a great call.
Thank you. Great call. Yeah, thank you, Michelle. Good seeing you. Good seeing you, everybody.
See you guys next week.
Next week. Good night.
But